Okay, hello everybody. Uh, my name's Mike Overstreet. Uh, I've been give you a little bit of background on myself. I've been doing robotics for a very long time now. I started out with Legos in school, then Vex, then First, and then I mentored First after I got out of high school and then college, and then I started going to robo games, and I think it was 2005 was my first year, and I went every year since. Unfortunately, it didn't happen last year and this year, but so that's kind of a little bit of my background. Uh, I do a little bit of programming, consulting, robotics as my job. So, what kind of prompted me to do this presentation or exhibit or whatever for this virtual maker fair was I've been seeing in my social media feeds lots of talk uh, and showing off for robots and how people are trying to use their robots or their research or as possibilities for helping with the issues caused by COVID-19. So as you can see right back here, my little buddy Snow here is one of the robots that I've been personally been working on, trying to think of ways to help use robotics in helping with the COVID-19 issues. So I got a short presentation. Hopefully it'll be about 30-35 minutes. Then I will have time to maybe answer lots of questions. Hopefully people have questions. Yeah, hello everybody. So let me share my screen here. I don't know, it probably lasts, let's see. If you do have questions, just post them to the Q&A or the question areas. Whoop. So, like I said, this is kind of just some of my ideas that I've been talking to friends with and seeing on my social media feeds. Just it's not perfect. Doesn't have all the ideas, suggestions. Some people have kind of gone dark and working on the old special research areas. But for me, I think there may be more, but I think there's about 5 areas that robots can really help, not just today, but in the future, as we try to work around all the new possibilities and all the things going on caused by COVID-19, social distancing at work and at home, and we go out. So the first big area is telepresence robots. There's telepresence robots have been around forever. It seems like 5, 6, 7, 8 years I've been seeing people work on telepresence robots. We got delivery robots, both in restaurants and from store to store, store to building, so on. Another big area is cleaning robots. Lots of work we're doing just in the last months and years about how robots could do the cleaning for you, clean the floors, clean the bathrooms. And the cool thing about robots when they do the cleaning is they don't need to wear PPEs. You save on PPE use. Another major category is assistant robots / robot chefs. So this is kind of a broad category, but just think of all the stuff that the robots can help out as both at home and at work to help us with social distancing. And like robot chefs is a great example. You have less people touching your food, the better. And then finally, this is another big area, but there's been a lot of work done on this in the last 5, 10 years, is the inventory robots. Great examples are Amazon warehouses, their warehouse robots. So that's kind of what my talk's going to be about today. So So with the telepresence robots, what I'm should have done this as a webinar, sorry. Kind of knew all this stuff. So what I'm talking about, telepresence robots, I'm talking there's multiple different categories and stuff. So like Snow can do, little baby Snow right here. She's kind of more of a social robot, helper robot. And then you can use for social uses for like, so we're all stuck in our homes. So and a lot of people are stuck in their homes by themselves. So what I mean by social is the robots can be a companion, help you get through these tough times. Then the other one is, of course, learning, teaching aids for kids at schools. So let's say you have a student that has underlying conditions that could cause issues, more susceptible to COVID-19 or more susceptible to dying from COVID-19, or even a teacher who's in his 60s or 70s and has underlying conditions. You can use these robots as ways for the people to actually go to school, teach classes, or attend classes. And then, of course, in business use, you can have for people. Let's say you see there's an outbreak in a city or in a locale. You can have telepresence robots allow people to get access to their business when they're locked down in their homes. Or let's say somebody gets COVID-19 and they can't work for 2-3 weeks, then they can use the telepresence robot when necessary to navigate throughout the office and do communications and maybe help them as far as meetings and so on, or talking to people, or doing stuff within the business, or helping somebody, assisting somebody through telepresence at the office. To kind of help show, I always like to see things myself. Seeing something makes me understand it better. So I've got some really cool videos I think can kind of show you what I'm talking about. This is a new video from school in Japan. So what happened was, I'll start playing it here. So this was kind of an experiment. Of course, my internet's so sorry. So in Japan, this is more of an experiment than necessary. But what they did is that they had these robots as telepresence robots, and then they had the little tablets with the individuals that were piloting the robots, and they were at home, and they were allowed to go to their graduation ceremony through the robots. I mean, it's not perfect, but in like today's environment where some people just can't be out, some people need to self-quarantine until we get a vaccine, this is just a kind of a cool way that can keep people socializing, keep people interacting with other people, keep people involved. I think this is a cool application for telepresence robots. And like I said, this technology's been around for years now. There's telepresence robots everywhere. So these people get their diplomas and get to experience what it's like to graduate with actually having to be there. Cool application, I think. Now, this next example is also from Japan. So this doesn't really have to do with COVID-19, because this technology, the researcher has been doing this for a couple years now. But this just shows you what cool things robots can do. So this is another telepresence robot, but the cool thing, it actually, when I first watched this video, I have to admit, I kind of cried a little bit, because what's happening is that this robot, this white robot, is being teleoperated at a cafe. This is the CEO and designer of the system. So the people actually controlling these robots have some disabilities or disabled. they can't move their legs or their arms, or they can't leave their homes for many reasons. So this actually allows them to work where they could not have worked at this place. So the robot, pretty sure we'll have video, but the robot allows the person at home to move the robot around. So this lady is in a wheelchair. It'd be hard for her to be a waitress, but because of this robot system, she can move the robot around, act like a waitress, interact with the customers. I think this is another super cool application for telepresence robots. And this is an example. This is an example of being used in school. So, like I was saying, today we don't have schools, but in the future we may have people who have diabetes or some asthma, and when there's an outbreak, they can't go to school, or their teacher can't go to school. So you can use. I think this should be used as a remote situation. Hang on, sorry. Let me advance it here. So this, again, like the Japanese version, this telepresence robot, actually, I think it's the teacher here. So I think this is a cool way for teachers and students to be. So this teacher is basically teaching remotely to this school, and I think it's Alaska. So this is helping. So this is another great example of how robots can help through the telepresence route. And like I said, this technology is extremely advanced and being used in all kinds of situations, even today. So this is an example. I probably have too many examples of telepresence, but this is just another example of where a telepresence robot is being used in the home. So this is, I think this is a dad. He's working, but just think about this. So the dad may not be a good example for today's environment. Think if you have parents or grandparents that are in their house alone, or you just want to check up on them, you want to interact with them. Telepresence robots are a great tool, I think. So somebody self-quarantine, you can check up on them. If they have a telepresence robot, you can interact with them. You can move around and follow them around as you do stuff. I think just another great example of how telepresence robots can be used to increase our social interaction while we quarantine, or like I said, in the future when somebody has to quarantine themselves, they still have a way to interact with people. I think this is like an almost 2-year-old video. So this technology is extremely advanced. I think this is from Modern Family. They had an episode where the father, one of the fathers was using his telepresence robot. Kind of funny, haha, but I think they're actually getting an argument here. So I say, I can't stress, to me, telepresence is a low-hanging fruit. It's easy applications there for us to use robots to help people out. Okay, so let's move on to I think I kind of killed the telepresence and use in learning in business environments and so on. I think that's pretty straightforward. So the next area is delivery robots. So this is to help with social distancing. So what I'm talking about, both outdoors, so packages, food deliveries, and all kinds of different things we can do. So instead of having the delivery driver walk the package to your door, you have a robot take the package to your door. And then for the indoors, for like restaurants, to help restaurants open up, they can use robots to deliver food to the individual tables. or if you're like in an apartment, a hotel area, they can deliver the food or supplies to the rooms. That way you decrease contact between person to person and improve continued social distancing. So this is just another cool, there's robots very similar to this robot in the US. This is a South Korean company, but this robot's using GPS, LiDAR, and cameras to navigate through a large city. So these robots I think would work perfect in large cities or condensed areas, condensed population areas. So you can like order your food, and instead of having somebody deliver your food, you have a robot deliver the food to you. And the robot has cameras, so it can detect whether it's allowed, whether it can walk or not. This is pretty easy technology. This is not something we have to invent. OpenCV is a great example of open source software package that allows you to do face detection, image detection, all kinds of stuff. And this actually robot has been, this research on this robot actually started before COVID-19 came out. Like I said, this would probably work better in large compacted cities like New York, where they're having issues. And the other great thing about robotics or robots is they don't get COVID-19. And a lot of the recent studies have said that you cannot, or it's harder to get COVID-19 from surfaces. So, and you can easily disinfect a robot, and a robot doesn't have to have PPEs. So this is another video of the robot in action. Now, this probably won't work in a lot of small towns and cities in the U.S. because we're so spread out. So, and like I said, it uses cameras and sensors to allow it to navigate and move around. This is most of the technology that being applied in everything I'm talking about today has been around for years, and it's been worked on and developed for years. So it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel to solve issues. But it uses SLAM, localization, LiDAR, GPS to map out and move from area to area. And like I said, there's some universities are using these in California, robots similar to this to navigate it around the campus to deliver books, supplies to the individual dorms. And this is already happening now. So this is an example that might work better for like UPS, Amazon packages, for places, more rural places in the U.S. This is being developed. This also has been developed long before COVID-19 came out. This is the robot that Ford's working on, just showing it how well it can navigate and move around rough, uneven surfaces. Where's the part? Sorry. Okay, yeah. So this is actually the autonomous car. It might actually show the robot coming out of the car. I'm sorry. Somehow this got pretty advanced there. Here we go. So the autonomous vehicle drives up to the car. Autonomous vehicle drives up to the house, opens up the back. The robot comes and deploys out, and then the robot takes the package to the front door. The great thing about this is your delivery drivers don't have to have PPEs. You don't have to worry about PPEs for your delivery drivers. Once you put all the packages in the autonomous vehicle, then there's no human contact with the package until the person picks it up at his door. This might be overkill, it might be too expensive, but this may be a way when at the beginning where everybody's socialized, everybody's quarantined themselves. This may be a way to have package deliver to people without exposing workers to COVID-19 and the issues caused by possible exposure and the expenses caused by the possible exposure to COVID-19. This is showing how, see, this technology has been around for years. So this is a bipedal robot. So it's not like I said, again, I can't tell you how this technology is already here. We don't have to wait years for this to happen. We can do it. We can do a lot of this stuff now. Nice walking gait for that robot. Okay. Make sure I'm staying in track here. Okay, I think another big area is in cleaning. So think about offices, buildings open up. So you need to constantly clean the bathrooms, keep them sterile, keep them clean. So there's a lot of different possibilities. A lot of people working on right now UVC light. So basically the robot has lots of UVC light, drives around, sterilizes surfaces with the light. The day or after people leave a business, you can spray down surfaces, or you can even spray down like troubled areas, like common areas, elevator keys, keypads, doors, meeting rooms. When people are in these meeting rooms, you spray them down, keep them clean, keep everything disinfected. So I'll give you some quick examples here. So this is actually Snow's bigger sister, Alice. She has a spray pack on. And so the robot already can at times move around. So you just add a spray pack to the robot, and the robot can go around and spray surfaces, troubled areas, common areas, public areas, doorknobs, meeting rooms, and spray disinfectant. And the robot's autonomous, and it has vision sensors, so you can have the robot only spray areas when there's nobody around it, so that the robot doesn't start spraying people. So the other thing I was telling you about was the UVC light. So light kills bacteria and viruses. The only problem about the UVC light is that it's dangerous for us. It can hurt our eyes and burn and damage, give us first-degree burns and damage our skin. So robots work perfect for this. So the robots can go into the rooms. They're using these in hospitals, so the robot turns off when it sees a person, and then turns back on once the person leaves the area. So think about all the applications for UVC light. So like this, an ambulance, hotel rooms, hospital rooms, airplanes. I've seen UVC light go into, between stops when airplane's on the ground. The airplane can be disinfected quickly by UVC light. So just some possibilities to think of. So I guess I didn't put one up. So other great idea is that in a sporting event, you need to constantly clean the bathrooms, the public restrooms. So you can have a robot in every restroom. And since restrooms are big, and you can have the restrooms sprayed down and disinfected every hour or whatever, or just constantly. And robots would be great for this. And another reason why I say that is because robots don't know PPEs, and they don't get COVID. So you don't have to worry about a robot getting COVID in a restroom. So just something, lots of different applications for cleaning. Floors, bathrooms, meeting rooms, everywhere, restaurants. So this is the area I was talking about. It's kind of big. So assistant robots can mean almost anything you can think of. So like Snow right here can interact with voice commands or her tablet. And then you have And the reason why it's good to have multiple ways to interact with the robot is, let's say it's a noisy, crowded environment, lots of people talking. It might be hard for the robot to figure out what you're saying. So that's why an interactive interface tablet would be great. Or, like I said, if the robot can understand what you're saying, then voice is great because you don't have to touch anything. You know, like your phone or this tablet, you don't have to touch the tablet. You can just say, robot, do this, robot, do that, and the robot can do that for you. And then think about, so you got people in hospitals or people need help in their home or the hospitals or quarantine. You can have a robot that has arms and hands that can do a lot of the stuff somebody can't. So somebody's in their really sick, laying in their bed, they can't get any water, they're by themselves at home. Think of the cool thing that a robot could do. The robot could be in there in the house. The robot can go like the refrigerator, go to where the food is, pick it up with its arm, and take the food to the person. And like I said, there's lots of examples, like the butler example I just showed, or with cooks. So you're trying to limit how much people touch food in a restaurant. You can have robot cooks and the receptionist. So you come into a business, place of business, and you have a robot meet and greet you. And the robot can use infrared sensors to see if you've got running the temperature and do other kinds of things. So, hopefully I can get done. I think I can. So receptionists, tour guides, help people, just basically help people do what they can't do. And the final area is inventory. This happened before COVID-19, automating in warehouses and stores like Walmart and Amazon. So when your supply chain is under stress, this is great for when that happens. You have robots that can step in and do a lot of the warehouse sorting, packing, putting together packages and so on. So like I said, instead of Amazon employees worried about getting sick from COVID, you can have robots do some of the work or all the work while we get the virus under control and containment. And same thing with the Walmart or just a grocery store. Let's see if I got some. So this is Snow's bigger sister, Amy. And this is just a quick example of how restaurants can maintain social distancing without having contact between the waiter and the people in the restaurant. So you can put up plexiglass shields and you can have the robot deliver the food to the tables. And this is easy technology. This is just a LiDAR sensor using SLAM localization, map out the room, and then you have the robot move from food prep area to the table and back. And it's really simple. You can just number the tables and then just tell the robot go to the table where the person's at. Pretty simple, easy to do. This is, I think, Big Bang Pizza in Atlanta, Georgia. So Toyota, this is showing how the robot can help clean surfaces in the home. There's actually some competitions that are being put on by universities and colleges where they're designed to go in and clean up homes, do stuff that either you can't do or you just don't want to do. Wash dishes, do simple things. It's RoboCup at home. And this is just showing how arms can be used to pick things up off the floor or to wash dishes or do other kind of stuff. But then, like I said, this is technology that's being worked on before COVID-19, so it wouldn't take a lot of work to get this out. like I said, if you say if somebody's sitting in their bed and can't leave their bed, you can have the robot go get them something to drink. Because if everybody is quarantined and social distancing, there's a lot of people that unfortunately are by themselves that need help. This is where robots easily step in. Yeah, you can use VR to control the robot. And this is just showing the map the robot made. It's called SLAM, a localization. LiDAR sensor to move around. Washing dishes, picking up items. More examples of using the LiDAR sensor to vision sensors to map out the room, so the robot knows where it is, knows where the objects are, knows how to get from point A to point B, and picking up. So there's, I can't tell you how many examples I've seen of robots in hospitals, but this is Pepper. The robots are just helping out. The big thing that robots do is they help decrease the amount of PPE usage people have. This robot's cleaning the floors, helps maintain a sanitary, clean environment. So there's a lot of work being done on bartenders and cooking robots. So this is technology we have now. This is not something we have to invent. We have to something research and develop for years. Like so this video is what, 2015, 2016. So there's bartending robots, and the key about why I'm showing this is that this helps limit how much of contact you have, human contact you have with your food, and then it's just showing the kind of remote control of the robots. So basically, he's training the robot how to cook food by using these sensors, and the robot learns by that. So this is kind of a quick example of you can use voice and, like I said, the keypad. The voice allows you to decrease the amount of touching you have to do on surfaces.
Hi, hello. Hey there, what's up? I am Andy to talk to you about anything. What can you do? I am Andy and anything that you can come up with, but I need to go for help from my Uncle Google.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, it's Snow uses AWS.
Hey there, what's up? I am Andy to talk to you about anything.
So he's just using his camera to detect the person.
I am Andy and anything that you can come up with, but I need to.
So yeah, this is the RoboCup at home. This has been going on actually for a couple of years. So this is university and colleges training and teaching and competing to teach robots how to be used around and just a simple basic setup for an apartment, and how to pick up and manipulate stuff and move stuff around and help people that need help. So a lot of these videos, there's tons of these videos out there, so we don't have to watch all of them. Just go to YouTube. So real quick, a couple things that people are worried about is that the robots within a crowded environment will hit people, run over people, hurt people. So this is just a video of my snow robot navigating through a really crowded high school. This is pre-COVID-19. To see how the robot's avoiding running into people. So the technology is advanced enough that you don't have to worry about the robot killing people, running over people, hurting people. Robots are really good now about avoiding people and moving from point A to point B without causing any problems. Actually, sometimes the robot just kind of freaks out and stops moving because it just can't figure out the correct path to go anymore. So don't worry about safety.
Hi, do you want to extend the meeting? You can read my message there in the chat.
Let me stop sharing the screen. You can extend the 40-minute limit by host leaving the meeting but not ending it, and all participants click on the original validation button. Well, we could try that.
Yeah, there's a button called leave meeting, not end meeting. That's
Where's
what it says.
Yeah.
Unless you want to end it.
Well, I got an end meeting button.
Yes, there should be one called leave meeting, not end for all. But they might have closed that loophole.
Okay, so let me try that out. It says leave meeting.